Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ibrahim and Kai podcast. And today it's episode number, I think it's 25.
Yeah,
And
25.
yeah, so last episode we talked about like the future creativity, strategy thinking, and like will robots take our jobs, that kind of thing. Um, Creativity and like everything is a remix and some concepts like that. And today we're talking about more gear. Today we're talking about a company that is currently doing very well and releasing a lot of new products actually, and it is DJI. They're very famous for their gimbals and their drones, but
Mhm.
yeah, DJI, and they've recently released a new camera. I think they have released previously the DJI Action, which is kind of like the GoPro. And yeah, recently released the RONIN 4D, I think, which is kind of like a mixture between a cinema, mirrorless, like kind of all-in-one camera, which we
Yeah.
have some thoughts on. And yeah, so yeah, how are you
Three
doing,
product in total, right?
Kai?
I'm good, man. I'm very excited to talk about this because
Yeah, same, bro.
I've been wanting to talk about it. We're kind of late though. I have to say, like I think everyone have been talking about it, but
Yeah,
I believe we're gonna have some of our own input on this.
definitely, dude.
Which one should we start talking about?
I think. Okay, so I have a question for you first, right?
Okay.
So it's not necessarily about DJI, but it's more about drones. Like, what do you think about drones in general, right? And kind of like DJI drones. Like, what do you think? Let me rephrase. What do you think about like what have drones done to us in the past? Like, what's your perception of like watching drones nowadays and seeing everybody using them, like in contrast to the past, where we didn't have drones.
Man, I haven't thought of it, but now that you ask, I realize one thing though. Like, I feel like drones is almost like the growth of drones
Yeah.
are very similar to smartphones. So like when you look at the first consumer level drones, which is like anyone could have afforded, like from DJI or GoPro back then when they were trying to compete with DJI, which they completely lost.
Yeah.
Those the quality of those drones are so bad. I mean, relative to now, obviously, during that time it's just fun to fly the drone. And just like smartphones, you just record to have fun. But now it's like the level of cinema. You can make movies with it, especially with the DJI MAVIC 3. Man, the quality is insanely good compared to what they had before. I think they have like ProRes.
Yeah, some of them have ProRes, and I think
ProRes 10-bit.
Yeah.
Something like that, and they have like this 2 lens, and it's from Hasselblad, and the specs is just like insanely good. Probably they can shoot like 4K 120 as far as I remember, and they have like 5K, 4K 120. I'm seeing it right now, and everything, like the whole spec of it is just going so high, just like smartphones. Right now you see iPhone 13, you can shoot in ProRes as well. So I feel like the growth is just, I don't even know where this is going at this point. It's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely think that drones are crazy now. Like, but I generally think that drones, like over the past couple of years, because like back in the day, right? The only way that I think generally drones have democratized the kind of high budget, very large scale film sets, right? Because back in the day, the only way for you to see a drone, or the only way for you to see like these very cinematic large scale footage, right, that is from very far off, showing like huge amounts of lands and showing these beautiful textures of trees and water and sea and all of that, was on TV, right? The only way for you to see that, because it would require like somebody on a helicopter or
they shoot it on helicopter. Usually it's the cinematographer literally like move with it. Like
they would take their cameras, put it up on a helicopter, and just fly with it and shoot
it must be insanely
from
expensive,
the sky. Yeah, and it was very expensive. And so for you, like, we would watch this and we're like, whoa, that is crazy, or you would see it on Hollywood movies with very large budgets. But I think what, like, seeing this contrast into today's world, like, there has been a kind of democratization to that, where you would see somebody who's a very like a very average, normal filmmaker who has a drone,
Mhm.
and he would kind of replicate that quality, you know. And so
Yeah.
when you watch somebody's films and they're using drones, it's always like this kind of flashback comes in of like, whoa, this is like really huge, when like in reality it was actually shot on a drone that cost like $500, you know. And so there has been this kind of like democratization of like this kind of like bridging the gap between high level filmmaking and a kind of average normal consumer filmmaking.
It's actually so interesting though, but like now that, because back then you have to spend so much money to get a very specific shot.
Yeah.
So the value of those shots are really high.
Yes.
But now suddenly it's like going like stonks, you know, just go down all the way down. And so now I feel like the creativity, the meaning behind the footage become much more important than just shooting it. Back then, like to be able to shoot it's already so impressive.
Yes.
Now it's like, okay, you get it.
Like that is creative,
then?
you know, just shooting is creative. But now you have to do more than that because it's easy.
You have
now.
to do more, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of people have drones. You see it quite a lot, and you have to kind of do more. Yeah, I definitely think they have pushed the bar a little bit, you know, drones. And obviously, like the favor goes back to DJI, one of the founders, like of drones, I think. And to this day, like a lot of like some of the best drones are like from DJI, you know.
They had the
their consumer standard, I think. Yeah.
But the thing is, I do remember after a while, like we were talking about people, the cinematographers being on a helicopter shooting the footage, right? But then I remember FPV came along actually very long ago already, but those are very expensive as well. You know, they have those I don't know what you call it, octa something, like it's like a big fat drone where they put like red on it, and they only had the budget to shoot it in Hollywood, and that was already like before already, but until very recently we were able to shoot it with these consumer camera. But in Chinese we call it planes without pilot. We had a word for these type of drones. So like you, how can I explain this? Like the transition from people on a helicopter until like this wireless controlling these drones, all the way to now is like anyone can just use their phone and fly the drone. I think that I don't know what's next though. Like what can they do afterwards? Where is it going from now on? Is it just going better? Or I mean, I feel like the only way they can go now is just having better qualities. That's all.
Yeah, I definitely think quality, and also I've seen people put some like a red Komodo on a drone and fly it as well, like you mentioned. So even the quality is kind of there. It's just that you just have to minimize the cost of error. You know, like if a Komodo or a red camera or a very expensive cinema camera, they put it on a drone, falls and breaks, and there's like kind of a high cost for any error. You know, I just think like next is like minimizing that. You know, and at the same time, I think making them easier to fly. But I definitely think that also FPV is crazy. You know, like FPV is quite crazy, dude. Like the speed that these drones go on, the amount of things that you can do with this, like the creativity, it's almost like a video game. And so there's that as well.
You know, they do have these training games before you fly an FPV. You can download their games. And then Steam. you can play it on your computer. Yeah, exactly. It was on Steam. But they say that you're gonna get very dizzy and then just throw up in the bucket. doing the training. I heard in some European, actually the whole European Union, they have a regulation on drones. Like you cannot fly faster than like 19 miles per second or something like that. Definitely.
This is one of the limitations of drones. In Doha also, in Qatar, you're not allowed to fly drones without a license. And a lot of
in Taiwan also.
Yeah, a lot of countries have started to request that. And so
because there are a lot of accidents because of that. So I guess it's fair to
I understand. I totally understand. Or spying on someone, or like there are a lot of things like that could go wrong that you could think about when it comes to drones. And so drones are still tricky, you know, but like this consumerization of like making them very affordable for normal filmmakers or average film, I think that's awesome, you know.
I guess we can talk about a little bit. Yeah, definitely, man. I think we can talk a little bit about the spec of this amazing drone though. I think it's really interesting. Like
the DJI MAVIC 3. Is it the MAVIC 3?
Yeah, man. They're using like a micro four third sensor, which is like huge for what they had before. Because back then they were using like a 1-inch sensor. You know, micro four thirds is like a GH5 already, right? And they're shooting in 5.1K Apple ProRes. I'm looking at it right now. They have 2 lens, so they never had this before, right? 2 lens, I think, is the first time.
I think so. Yes, I think so. One of them is a wide, and one of them is
a wide angle, and then they had another one which is like a 24, I think.
It's nice to see that actually. It's quite
the
nice.
photos is amazing, man. I'm looking at the photos right now, man. It's really good, and people should look it up on the internet. But it's just so
quite good,
I really want to fly it.
The ProRes.
10-bit, man. 10-bit. My Sony
doesn't shoot 10-bit.
6600 can I even shoot 10-bit?
Come on, Sony.
It should be a yeah, that was the issue with the Sony though. Like even I remember the A7 III couldn't shoot in 10-bit. It was like 8-bit or something. Man, it should. Even iPhone can shoot in 10-bit. Come on, man. Like the iPhone 13 can shoot in 10-bit.
Yeah.
Holy cow, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you, like, I feel like 4K 120 has become a standard in camera, like in the camera industry. Like the drone can shoot 4K 120, and the one that we're gonna talk about next, the Osmo Action 2, can also shoot in 4K 120. So it's like. I remember before the A7 S2 S3 came out, there's not a lot of camera that can shoot in 4K 120.
Yeah.
But then the R5 came out, the A7 S3 came out. Suddenly every camera should shoot in 4K 120. Otherwise nobody's gonna talk about it. So it's like everything's just happening so fast, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of improvement, especially in like the camera industry, and especially this year. You know, the year 2021, we've seen a lot from that, and it's going crazy. You know,
shit, man.
Yeah, but yeah, we want to talk about the action, right? The DJI
exactly
action. Yeah. So this is the second version, the recent one that they released, and to be honest, bro, I'm not quite sure about it. I've seen comparison footage with the GoPro, you know. I think the GoPro is better. The dynamic range is definitely higher. Yeah.
What are we not sure about this one?
Because the dynamic range is higher. Maybe this has more feature that you can attach a mic to it and you can do a lot of cool stuff. But still, the GoPro in terms of footage quality, I think is better. And it feels more rigid. The GoPro feels more rigid. It feels like you can throw it, punch it, and do all of that stuff without it breaking. But the DJI, like with all of these like customization and all these features, it feels a little, you know, like I get what they're doing, but at the same time, I'm not sure.
You know what I saw in these design is more like I get what you mean. Like it looked less rigid, right? Because it's like you have to stick them together.
Yeah.
So it feels like it could be torn apart very easily. But I feel like all of these things that they did is they really went through how their consumers use their product. That's why they came up with these functions. Otherwise, why would they do it? So I feel like usually GoPros and these action cameras are focused specifically on this extreme, you know, sport. What do they call it? There's a word for that. But these, like, you know, people who surf, who ride these bikes or like skateboard, all those stuff.
Maybe athletes,
but right now,
or
exactly, and like they jump out from a plane or whatever. But I feel like when for this one, the DJI Action 2, they kind of like targeting vloggers as well. They're targeting people who just shoot like very normal stuff, like daily stuff. They're not necessarily for action. Maybe that's why they kind of have this vibe. Like even in their commercial, they shot people just cooking, and then they put it like a POV. You know, they have this little magnet that you can put in front of you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've
seen I've seen it. Yeah, it's kind of like a necklace.
Yeah. Which is something that we actually saw in Insta360. I don't know if you've seen it before.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Insta360. They have this little one. I think it's called a Go 2 or something. They also have like you wear a necklace and then you stick it on it, but that one has like a time limit, and the quality is not as good as the DJI Action 2, but this one is like really high quality. So I think, as you said, it really depends on what kind of things you want to do. Because if I want to just shoot vlog and like POV daily lifestyle, I would go for this one. But if you don't feel safe about it, then like you can just go for the GoPro.
Yeah.
Like I've tested the DJI Action 1.
Okay.
Like it didn't have honestly, I think the quality was as good as the GoPro. Like we did like a commercial with that camera, and it wasn't that bad. Obviously, it's still nothing compared to even a 1-inch sensor camera.
Yeah,
I gotta say, like even a point-and-shoot camera quality is better than the GoPro.
Yeah.
But
that is true. Yeah, I agree.
As a GoPro, I don't know, like this DJI Insta360. I don't know where how good their quality could be.
Because also you have to take into consideration like the overall goal of why these cameras have been made, right? Like a GoPro, we know what the goal of it is. The goal is like this kind of rigidity, kind of you can put it anywhere, and it like you can make sure you're not worried about if it's gonna break or not, and you're kind of sure it buys you this kind of safety that you're gonna get your footage at the end of the day. No matter what you're doing, if you're skating, you're jumping, you're freaking playing, no matter what you're doing, like it's gonna hold your footage there, you know, and it's gonna record. And so that's the selling point of the GoPro, you know. It's sold to athletes, like this kind of action environment, right? Active environment. And so DJI is kind of playing on that, but also saying, hey, we also wanna kind of push more into more directions, like allow vloggers to do that, allow people who wanna, you know, do different things also use our DJI Action. And I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about the all-in-one kind of camera, right? Which also kind of applies to the DJI RONIN 4D, right? Okay, so they released this new DJI RONIN 4D, which is a very much a cinema camera that has autofocus, that has a gimbal on it, you know, stabilizer, big battery, a lot of specs and features, and I don't know how to feel about this, you know. At first I looked at it and I was like, like it does everything, but also it's not like, it's very amazing at stabilization. I definitely think it's very good for car shoots. You know, you can mount it on a car because it has a gimbal, and you can record ProRes, and you can record ProRes RAW, I think, and the dynamic range is quite good. But at the same time, I don't know, bro. I can't see myself using it, you know. And I'm not trying to hate on DJI. I just can't see myself using it. It feels so much like there's a lot of stuff happening on the camera itself. You know,
I think that's what I told my friend. Like, the amazing part about the DJI 4D is that it has everything.
Yes.
And then the downside of it is that it has everything.
Yes.
It's like, even if you don't need
this is how I would describe it, definitely. Yeah.
Even if you don't need those things, it's there. You know, like I don't want the stabilization. Sometimes I wanted to have more control over the shakiness or something like that. But it has, you know, stabilized like even 4 axis, which is incredibly stable. Yeah. And so it comes as a big body, you know, like, and there's a funny story actually. Like, one of my friend, he's always on these rumors group, which they leak like the new DJI product, right? And every time there's like a new one, he always send it to me first. And I remember he sent me this the one for DJI 4D, and when I saw it, I said, man, this looked like an ostrich. I cannot be like DJI, like that's not what they do. Yeah. But then it's actually what they did, and it's like, what the hell is this? Like, it's like everything is inside. They have like monitor, they have like LiDAR focus, they have everything. So as you said, I think this is for a very specific, maybe not like very specific, but people who wants to shoot everything smoothly, let's say. Yeah. Like they want,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Like the whole team is inside.
Yeah.
You need less people. I don't know. I gotta see how people use it. Like, I honestly don't have like a exact opinion on this. I do find it really cool though, because they're really like,
the innovation is cool, right? Like, the innovation is there, but you don't know like what to do with it. Like, you have it, like, okay, it does everything. Like, how am I supposed to use this? You know, like, am I supposed to shoot cars with it? And also, to be honest, I've seen the footage from it. You know, like the dynamic range is okay, it's high, but it's not like the Sony A7S III. I don't think so, you know. And at the same time, it shoots ProRes. It shoots ProRes RAW, and at the same time, it's not like the quality of the Blackmagic. The highlights roll off are not very high. It kind of still reminds me of a mirrorless camera, so it's not quite cinema, you know.
I gotta look at the footage. I haven't seen their footage yet.
Yeah,
so,
but what I really liked about what they did is that they did this thing with focusing, right? So they introduced this kind of waveform, right? And it allows you to focus on the subject pretty easily, man. And it's freaking amazing. So you have like the waveform, like kind of the objects within the frame are kind of displayed in waveforms. And when you turn the wheel on each waveform, you focus on each object, which makes like focusing is way easier. Like this is I haven't seen this before. Maybe somebody else have done it, but I think this is like a very much a new technology in autofocusing, which is freaking amazing. You know,
from what I see, it feels like those, you know, some of the cars when you're backing up, you see on the monitor you see a top view of your car. I don't know if you've seen those before.
Yes. I think
like the LiDAR is like that. You see like a top view of what you have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But the thing is,
that's an interesting way
when you look at all of these function, I feel like these features really feels like when you want to shoot like an action type of scene, then you use these because it really like focus intense. You know, you have to focus a lot on the actors which are very blurry. And you got to move a lot, and you don't want a lot of handshake. I don't know. I feel like because the whole package is there, you feel like you got to use everything, which might be very distracting, you know. So again, I don't know, but I feel like maybe some professional filmmaker hearing us talking will be so like cringe, like, man, you don't even know the potential of this. I know the potential of these, but right now, maybe because we're not so big yet, so we cannot see ourselves using it. But I don't know. Like,
but sometimes, like when you see something that's like there, you know, you immediately notice that you're like, oh, okay, I see something in this. You know, it's kind of like the Blackmagic. The second you see the footage with the size, you're like, gosh, this is cinema. You know, this is different than mirrorless. Like I can see something. And hey, maybe it might get better. Maybe there is like a very useful use for the DJI RONIN 4D. Who knows, you know? But so far, that's our opinions.
But I feel like the reason why we felt like this also because it's like it's never done before. Nobody has done anything like this. So yeah, I think it's like a completely new thing, and maybe once it becomes maybe mainstream, we will start to see the use of it. But what I really do want to give them credit for is like they're trying something so risky.
Innovation.
I heard that they've been working on the prototype of this since 2018 because one of the YouTuber that I follow, he later on he revealed, like after this is announced, he revealed that he'd been testing for DJI since 2018. So which is a very long period of time. Imagine all of the money and time you put into to create this, and you have the risk that nobody likes it. The market doesn't accept it. But they had the courage to actually finish this whole product and announce it to the whole world. So I got to give them the credit for this.
Dude, I 100% agree. And I think we definitely have to give credit for DJI for the innovation. Like, I think like DJI right now, like a lot of their products, you don't feel like they're finalized. You know, they're kind of still in this innovation process of creating, trying new things and improving and kind of pushing the boundaries of how can we ease in this idea of documentation, of shooting, of recording. And I definitely like think that that is very, very important. That is something to like definitely respect about DJI and what they're doing. You know, it's the innovation. It's trying to push the boundaries and create something that is new that nobody has seen before. You know, we see that with our RONIN 4D, with the action. It's awesome what they're doing.
The thing is, a lot of the things that they do, not only with the 4D, a lot of this thing that they do has no competition because it's like completely new. Even the FPV, we know that they're not the one who invented the FPV, but they're kind of the one who started like this consumer FPV where it's ready, you know, it's ready for you to fly. Ready to use FPV. Like you just buy it and you can fly it. And then they also have some very cool functionality where you can just pause it in the mid-air. You know, these are the things that no FPV company has done it before. So I think that they're really thinking about the consumer. That's why I really support them, because I know they're one of those companies who really listen to their consumer. That's why they build out something that might look very weird when you first look at it, but then when you start using it, you realize that all of the thoughts that they put into think about how we use our their product. So I feel like I believe the 4D is going to get good reviews. So far that I see from other people, like people who
people have liked it, I think,
like,
generally.
Yeah, like even, I don't know, maybe you got to shoot like documentaries where you have to follow people a lot, and you just don't need a big crew. Then the 4D is going to be very handy.
Very handy.
Because you got everything with you.
Totally, dude.
You don't need a crew, and then 100%. You can just shoot your own documentary.
Yeah.
So which the camera is quite expensive, and I believe they have like an 8K, a 6K, and I feel like they're gonna release like a cheaper version, like lower end of this the 4D. Maybe they're gonna release like a 4K version of it, just so it's not that expensive. How much is it? It's like $7,000.
I don't know about the price.
$8,000.
Wow.
It's quite expensive. Yeah, it's quite expensive. But I mean, consider all of the technology.
Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff.
Like,
definitely.
Yeah. Like I feel like the price might be justifiable. But yeah, like
and they're pretty much like, you have to not forget, like they're pretty much excelling on like in gimbals. Like their gimbals are the best. I think they put carbon fiber like in the structure of the gimbals, which is like freaking amazing. Their gimbals are amazing, and obviously their drones are like sick. They are the standard for drones, so there's that as well.